Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a good looking puzzle in front of us. It's called 50% split. I think I can see why that is. Looks like we've got a percentage line here, or the percentage indicator with the line going across the middle. That would be my guess. How about yours? It's by PuzzleTank. I think we've done a puzzle, maybe one other puzzle by PuzzleTank at this point. I can't remember if it was one or two. Do recall that they were, it was a good puzzle. Obviously, if I posted it, I enjoyed the puzzle. But let's just jump into the rules of this thing. So it looks like it's going to be some interesting interactions between our German whispers and our killer cages, which are the rule sets for this one. So normal Sudoku. So every row, column, and 3x3 box will contain the digits 1 through 9 once each. We've got our German whispers. So adjacent digits along a green line must differ by at least 5. So normal German whisper. Whatever this guy is, this guy has to at least be 5 away, and so on and so forth down these lines. And then, of course, killer cages, digits and cages must not repeat and must sum to the given total. So these guys will add to 21, these to 22, etc., etc. That's it. So no need to jump into a big old intro here. Let's just get at this thing and have some fun. Thing, not guy, right? Anyway, links in the description below. Let's get at it. All right, so let's see. Where are we going to start? Do we want to start thinking about math? I think it's probably the best way to go about it. Because we've got a 22 and we've got a 9 here. So we're currently at 31. So these have to add to 14 in some way. Now, is there a way to... Because what we want to do is get on to the German whisper. So if we can find a way to push either 2 highs or 2 lows, that would be helpful, right? So we said, what, 14. So it could be a 6, 7 with a 1. And it could be a 9 with like a 2, 3 or a 1, 4. So I don't think we can really get anything on that one. What are you? 12 and 20. We're at 32. So we have 13. So there... If we did have 2 highs and a low, it would have to be the 6, 7 with the 1, because there'd be no other way to do it. And if we did the 2 lows and a high, is there some restriction there? Because if you think about, there's going to be some groupings you can't do. Obviously, you can't have a 6 because you have 2 1s. If you put a 7, you've got a 1 and a 2. Well, that only adds to 10. If you get the 8 in there, you can do a max of 2, 3. But that would be enough. So even then, there still appears like there is some possibility that these could go in either direction. So let's maybe start thinking about just the values themselves. What about a 22 cage? The 22 has to have a 9 in it, period, right? Because you can never make 22 in 3 digits without using a 9. 8, 7, 6 can only get you to 21. So we've got a 9 on our 22 right off the bat. Now, if we have the 9 there, does that flip our script? Because we said then the most we could do if it was a single high digit would be an 8 with a 2, 3. Well, that's 13. We needed 14. So the answer is no. This is going to be 2 highs and... Is that right? 2 highs and 1 low? Let me think about that for one more second, right? Because we don't have the 9. So we're saying we have to get 14 between these guys because we're at 31. We have to get to 45. That's 14. If we just did a singular high, the most we could do would be 8. But yeah, it doesn't work. So these are 2 lows. So these all have to be low digits here. I guess we'll do an initial coloring. Wait, no, I went the wrong way. These are all... No, they're 2... Look, they're 2 highs. I don't know why my brain won't function right now. These are high digits. It's the only way we can get up to 14. These are low digits. Goodness gracious. So, if we have to have 2 highs and we know we have a 14, this is the 6, 7, and the 1, like we had previously stated. Okay, that's what it was. Brain, function, please. Coffee, ingest, might help. Okay, now with that said, let's jump into what these can be. 1, 2, 3s, and 4s, you can't be a 4. 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s, you can't be a 6. So let's start thinking about maybe one of these other groupings now. Because again, we said these guys here had to be a, 13? If that was the case, and now I'm debating with myself if I said what this was wrong when I first started thinking about it, but we're going to get that out of our head, because it doesn't really matter if I said it wrong. We figured it out. These have to add to 13 in some way. We can't use the 7, because it would have to be the 1, 2 pair. And the 8 we said could work, because it could be a 2, 3. The 9 could work, because it could be a couple of things, right? Because, excuse me, we'd have 4, well, it would be a 1, 3, because we'd have 4 left over. So I guess it means there's always a 3. Does that help us in any way? Well, let's think about this guy, because that 6, 7 says you're not 3 or 4. Okay, so if there's always a 3 on this thing, let me make sure I did that right, because we've already screwed up in our thoughts process already. If this is an 8, we have to get to 13. That's 5 left over. Oh, we could do a 2, 3, or a 1, 4. Why did I think that we couldn't do the 1, 4? Well, we can't do the 1, 4 because it's an 8, you dummy. See how well this is working? So if it's an 8, it has to be a 2, 3, because you can't put a 4 next to an 8 on a German Whisper. If it's a 9, because we only have 4 left, it has to be a 1, 3. Yeah, this is a 3, which means you're not 6 or 7. Good. And I don't know if that tells us much more about the rest of these guys, but maybe now we can start to think about some of these other ones in terms of what we have left over. Yeah, like this 9, it just has to be a 2, 3, 4 because we can't use a 1. That forces this to be 9, 5, and 8. That would add up to 22. So that's good. It's always nice to confirm that you've done something correctly. Is there anything we do with this 12 clue? Because we can't use a 3, and we have another low digit that's going to be taken as well. Is it possible to tell us what this is, and then we can maybe get on to this grouping? We might also have to start thinking about coloring this thing and seeing maybe how it's going to interact with some of these other guys across the board. Let's think about this 12 first. What's the bare minimum we can do? That's the first question. It would be a 1, 4, 5. Now that obviously works. So that's not going to tell me too much. I think we're going to say, well, I guess it could be, yeah, we could have a high, a mid, and a low on this 12, so we can't quite work out the distribution of what these guys are, whether they be highs, lows, or mids there. Now, I didn't even think about 5s, but I don't know that we necessarily have anything going on 5s with all these German Whispers. There's kind of a hodge. Well, I guess we do have an X-Wing on 5, so one of these is, but whether or not that's super useful, I don't know, because again, this guy up here isn't correlating back to you. Okay. Let's think about something else then. Do we think about the 20 cage? Because we know there's going to be 2 highs on it, right? Or is that... Yeah, we're going to have 2 highs. There's no way to not. Because if you didn't have 2 highs, the max you could have would be a 5, 4, and 9. That obviously doesn't get you there. But we don't know if this is the high or if these 2 are, or what have you. Okay, let's start coloring maybe. And let's see what these guys turn out to be, because these are all going to be the same grouping. These are all going to be the same grouping. Now, we know these are low. So, okay, so no matter what in this row, we've used all of our lows. So these guys have to be from 5, 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s. I guess we don't know too much about the 21. It could be an 876. Well, no, it can't be an 876. Because if it's an 876, we break this thing. So if that's the case, it must be, or must contain a 9. Yeah, because if you put an 876 in here, you put a 9 here, what the heck do you put here? Okay, so there's a 9 here. That's the easier way to look at it. This then becomes an 8. You're not 9 or 8, which means you're not 3. And if we have the 21 with the 9, hey, there's still multiple ways I think you can do that, right? Because you've got 12 left over. You could do 7, 5. Or is that the only way you can do it? Is 7, 5? Because you can't obviously use the 9. You can't use the 8 again. You can't put a 6 on it. Yeah, this is a 9, 7, 5. Okay. It's making it easier just going through that, which means this is the 6, which means you are a 1. Cool. All right, let's see what else we can do. We also might need to start thinking about 4s and 6s because of all these guys, but we'll get to that in a second. 4s, I was going to say, thinking about those 4s, we could put a 4 here, or this could be a 4. And that could still work. What are you guys, by the way? You're 2s, 3s, and 4s. So let's color those in, and we'll think about this column. Because again, we're going to have all of our lows, no matter how they're organized. So these are going to be the 5s, 7s, 8s, and 9s. And we can still put a 4 here, or one of those two. Let's color this guy, because I think there's something down here we can work with. I'm gonna use the same colors. I just know that they're not the same necessarily. Let's think about this column, because we know one of these two has to at least, well, we know there's a 5 in here is what we really know, first off, because you can't put both of these being high because you have 3 highs and you have to put 2 more highs here. So one of you is a 5, and we know that there's a 5, and we know there's 2 highs, so these here just have to be low. 1, 2, 3s, and 4s, and I guess we'll color those as well for now. We'll see how far I get with coloring. I might stop somewhere along the line depending on what's going on. And does that tell us anything? I guess it also tells us along this row we have all of our low digits. So you, or you has to be the 5, and the rest of them are high. I'm not quite as happy about that one. Do we do anything with these? Because we know we're going to have 1 high, 1 low, 1 high, 1 low type of situation. Or do we have the same thing going here with the 5s? We do. There has to be a 5 in one of these two. Because we have 1 high, we can't put 2 more highs and then fit those. So there's a 5 there. Okay. That tells us these are low. If you are low, you're high. And what can you be? 1, 2, 3s, and 4s, I guess. And we have 2. Okay. Now we can get into this guy finally. We have 2 lows. We can't make red low because that would be all 4 lows, and you wouldn't be able to put a low on this bad boy. These reds are highs. These yellows are lows. I can't double click them because I used those guys previously, so we had to go through this version. Now, where does a 4 go? Here. And here. Well, it's got to be one of these two. And it's got to be one of you two. Let's actually just put these guys in and see if we can get some more work done. 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys are not 3s. You're not a 4. You, and you are actually not 4s. So we do get a 1, 2, 3 triple here. Let's put these guys in and keep rolling. 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s. You're obviously not 6s. You and you are not 6s. And then what do we have? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Does... Kind of interesting that we don't have the same... Oh, I guess because this is what caused this one to break, but this one doesn't have the same instance going on. Okay, 5. Where does the 5 now go in this region? Well, it can't go in any of these, so it goes here. That's the case. You're not 5. Wrong button. So one of you two is, which means you're not, which means you are, because we said one of those had to be a 5. And we said, well, we say one of these has to be a 5 as well. Oh, but this 5 comes down here and says you're not 5, so you are. Which comes back and tells us this is the 5. Perfect. Now, this 20 clue. These two have to add to 15, so this is going to have to be a high. So these yellows are high, the reds, and it turned out they were the opposite groupings between these two. Now let's put all these in, and let's see if we can just roll with this. 1, 2, 3s, and 4s. No, no, and no on the 4s. You can't be a 1. You can't be a 1. There's a 2, 3 pair. That's going to come in handy once we put in these guys. 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s. 6, 6, 6, 6, and none of those. You can't be 7 because of the 2, 3 pair. Okay, what else can we do? Do we not have any more restrictions there? I thought we might. But I guess not. You're not an 8. We do have a 7, 8, 9 here as well. So we know... Okay, well, one of these is going to be a 1, which means you're not. Which means you are by Sudoku. To get you in there, which means you are the 2, you are the 3, you are the 4. I think we might be done with our coloring at this stage. We'll find out eventually. You're not a 2. You're not a 2. You're not a 3. Okay, do we have anything else now that's telling us something about something? Do we know anything more about this 12 now? I guess we know that there's another low digit. So there's going to be a 1, 4 pair, because where do you put the other 1, 4? Okay, so we know there's a 1, 4 pair in one of these two, which means we're at 5, so it has to go with the 7 to make 12, which means you guys aren't 7s. This 3 actually says you're not 6, and this can't be 7 either, so that's an 8, 9 pair, so you are the 6. Now, if we know that's a 6, that's 11. You have to be 9 and 8 and not 9. And you have to be the 8. You guys are not 9s, 8s, or 6s, so that's a 5, 7 pair. You're not 7. And did we have anything else there? Guess I don't... Oh, the 2 here says 7, 6. There we go. That's going to remove you as a 6. We get an 8, 9 pair. So that 7 says 5, 7. Which removes this as a 7. 6, 7. Actually, this is the only place a 7 can go in this column, so let's put that there, because that's going to remove 3s. That's a 1, 2. This is a 3. You can't be a 3. That 3 says you can't be a 7. So the 8, 9 says you guys are not 9s, which means you are the 9. Good. We're making our way in the world today. That's a 7. You are 5 and 7. That 7 says you can't be. You can't be 6 or 7. So we do get that 8, 9. Where does a 1 go in this row? It just has to go here, which means you and you aren't. We probably have tons more stuff. We just have to work through them to see where they go. This can't be a 4 anymore because we can't put a 9 here. So you are the 4. Get on the right level. And what are you anyway? 6 or 8. You can't be 8. The 1 says you are a 3. You're not 3. Okay. What are these guys going to be? It's going to be a 1-2 pair, whatever's left over. But I guess we don't necessarily know what goes on. Let's think about this column, though. This has to be the high digit. We already and this is a 2, by the way, but this is the high digit. So 6, 7, 8, 9, not 9, obviously. You have to be from the lows, 1, 2, 3, or 4. So it's either 2 or 4, and it can't be 4, so it's 2. You are 1. You can't be 6. That 2 says 4. You guys are not. 2, 3. This is a 7. Just finding that now, which means you're not the 7 and you are. The 8 says you are the 9, which means 8 and 9. And the 7 here says you have to be that 2 and 3, which means you are a 2. You guys aren't. You are a 4 by the 3. Good. That 3 comes over and says 2 and 3, which means you are 1 and 2, which means you are 3. Getting a bunch of stuff going here now. That is an 8. No, the 1 says 2. The 1 and the 4 are not quite determined. What are you? 3. Because they just have to be 4, 5, and 6, and this can't be 4 or 5. So you are 6, you are 1. You are the 4, 5, where you are the 5 and you are the 4. You have to be from 6, 8, and 9. Let's put, go away. 6, 8, 9. You can't be 9. You can't be 8. I guess that's about all we've got there. You can't be a 6 either, though, which means you are the only place a 6 can go, which means you are the 8, 9, 8, 6, 7, 9. You are a given 8. The 9 over here, just seeing, says you are 8, you are 5, you are 9. 8 and 9. The 1 here is breaking the 1-4 pair. That 1 tells us this guy's the 1. And I guess we'll just finish Sudoku then here. What are these guys? 6 and 7. 6, 7. You are 3 and 4. 4 and 3. You are a given 4. You guys have to be 5 and 6. You are the 6. You are the 5. Cuckoo. You are 2, which goes here, and 4. You are just a given 6. You are just a given 9. There we go. We solved the puzzle. Solution is correct. 350 solves in 5 days. Not too bad. Good puzzle. Really enjoyed that one. Yeah, you really had to kind of get into it with the concept of math. At least that's the way I broke into it. There could very well be another way of getting at it, but thinking about the groupings of some of these guys and how they could work. And then once you got that, you could try to find a way to get on to these other German whispers. And once you did that, again, it just kind of proliferated down and down and down. So with that said, hope you all enjoyed that one. I certainly did. And we'll see you next one. Thanks a lot.